I got a lot of really good feedback on my comparing and contrasting the 16 to the 20 election, and what we're going to do here today is the 2012 to the 2020 election. And I think that this is another pretty good case where we can take a look at what happened in the past, compare it to what's happening now, and see that most of the pundits are completely full of shit when it comes to doing any kind of projections. Outside of Nate Silver in 2012, you gotta give the devil his due. He called it exactly 332 to 203, which was one of the more bullish models when the 2012 election was coming out, because it was about a toss-up. People really liked the debate performances of the old neocon Mitt Romney, and Barack Obama, in the meantime, was not doing that great with the economy. A lot of his promises in the first 100 days never came to fruition. I do believe yes, we're in 2020 and Guantanamo Bay is still open. And yeah, also bombing the fuck out of Libya. So he wasn't exactly the most popular human being on the face of the earth at the time, but according to Nate Silver, that didn't really mean or amount to fuck all. Because yeah, he called it perfectly, because here ended up being the results. 332 to 206 right here off of the NBC website, and yeah, his projection, his model looked exactly the same. But for every one prognosticator to end up being correct, there were, several flubs, and not even Nate Silver did a great job comparing the projections for the Senate. And I'd liked doing that in the first episode of this kind of whatever quasi-series, whatever you guys want to call it. If this is a sequel to it, fair enough. Adding in that Senate aspect to it, because it doesn't matter if they projected it right or not. Most of the time they were pretty right. Some of the time I found out that they were wildly wrong, but for the most part it ended up being within 5 points of the wrong direction, which there are a lot of different races that are within 5 points of being incorrect. And as we've seen with the 16 election, 5 points is definitely the difference between a elected official and sitting at home complaining to your former husband, whether or not sitting at home next to your husband complaining about how bad the orange man is. Meanwhile, he's dreaming about all the interns snatches he could make. Do a George Burns impression. But enough about the thick ankle dog face. Let's do some compare and contrast. 51 to 48% in the popular vote. An absolute smoke job in the Electoral College. But right before the day started, this is from Gallup. You probably heard of Gallup polls because they're fairly well regarded as being prestigious in the polls community, wherever the fuck that means post 2016. But they anticipated Mitt Romney was going to win. In early voting, he was coming in and looking fairly prominent, but right before November 5th, election was held on the 6th. Romney 49, Obama 48, Gallup's final election survey. Because there were a lot of different approval rating metrics that didn't really favor Barack Obama. Now you had the traditional breakdown of the early voting there, and it really comes as no surprise. Men vote more for Republicans, women vote more for Democrats, especially when they're clean-cut, articulate. Man, that's really a storybook black man, to quote everybody's favorite racist, corrupt old uncle. But here's another breakdown on the policies, which is kind of, you can definitely lay all the policy decisions of the Barack Obama campaign right at Joe Biden's feet because he was the vice president. Duh. So how did the Obama versus the potential Mitt Romney and stupid neocon fucking rhino Paul Ryan shake out here? In case you guys don't remember, Obama never really pulled that well when it came to the economy. As you can see here, people who were polled thought that Mitt Romney would take care of the economy 6 points better, and because Obama was spending like his co-worker's son, the federal budget was ballooning under his presidency, which, it's doing the same under the Trump presidency, but we didn't have a national shutdown like that under the Obama regime, so, take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, Romney was supposed to favor better when it came to taxes, the economy, and the budget, because, that's what Republicans are supposed to do, right? And this was pre-installing Obamacare, so did they think that Obama would handle, healthcare, Medicare, and foreign affairs better? I don't know why. Maybe he was more respected in the community out there, and, he was black, therefore people would actually like him better. Yeah, whatever. As long as he had a teleprompter strapped to his head. But in hindsight, I don't blame people for not trusting or liking Mitt Romney because, he's done enough to damage whatever was left of his career post-12 in the convening years. He could hide in the shadows a lot when John McCain was still alive, but he's become the prominent figure in the rhino community and somebody you shouldn't trust, to be completely honest. But the reason all this is important is because, you say that, well, not you, but Gallup says that Mitt Romney was supposed to win in 12. That's weird. Barack Obama beat your forecast by 3 points. So and then compare and contrast that today with Nate Silver's projection where Joe Biden is supposed to win by, 11 points in the popular vote and supposed to get skunked by, 54 points in the Electoral College. I won't bother bringing up all the 2016 projections because we remember how funny those were. You can feel free to check out that video. I'm quite proud of it as well. But just because Nate Silver called the 12 election perfectly, fucked up the 16 election tremendously, doesn't mean that he was accurate in 12 on the Senate. And we know how the Senate turned out in 16 based on projections, and we can do the exact same compare and contrast here today. So here's what we got right now. This is for the 2020 election. They anticipate that the Democrats are going to retake the Senate. I vehemently disagree, and I can't be more strong in that prediction. But here we go. We got state by state. What he's thinking here. Apparently a Republican senator in Georgia, well, it's essentially just going to be a toss-up. Mark Kelly is going to absolutely smoke Martha McSally in Arizona, which, if you're actually on the ground there and you see all the turnout, did you see that clip of a Joe Biden rally in the Phoenix last weekend? Yeah, nobody showed up. And I'm not being hyperbolic like most of his rallies, like the one that was just in Michigan. No, literally nobody showed up to it. So how does he expect that, that down ticket bump from the presidential election, because more people turn out for the presidential election every 4 years than they do for the midterms, and that's when a vast majority of other senators go up for election is during the midterms. So whenever somebody has the chance to vote for somebody that they're actually energized in voting for, like President Trump, they're just going to go Republican all the way down the ticket. I don't like that as a strategy because maybe the Democrat in your district might have good policies, and maybe the Republican might be just another rhino like Mitt Romney, and you should vote for your interest, and you should make an informed decision. And all you see in Arizona is enthusiasm for the Trump side. All you see in, pretty much every state. I should make that a little bit more broad, but in Arizona, it's, I don't buy that prediction whatsoever. Maybe Mark Kelly sneaks in. He's a gun grabber, raise your taxes kind of guy who loves to tell you about being up on the International Space Station, but doesn't have any kind of substantive policy, which I broke down in a comparison video between the two here earlier in my channel's history. But once again, let's not waste any time by going down what the fuck's actually going to happen here, because, there's just a lot of things we're going to be able to go back on in the weeks after the election to compare and contrast with, and I look forward to doing that as well. But for posterity's sake, let's take a look at what the fuck was shaken in 12. So 538 was wildly different at the time, and this is where I get all these projections from. They were affiliated a lot more with the New York Times, and now they are with ABC. And apparently ABC, they're owned by Disney, so 538 gets a much larger budget where they can have a much more interactive website, and hopefully y'all can read that. And I'm going to just kind of parse out the projections on the senatorial races here as best as I possibly can. I am functionally fucking blind, but thank God I have nice glasses that allow me to read tiny font that you can't fucking zoom in on. Hey, you can, but I don't want to change any of my fucking computer settings, so deal with it. Link in the description below if you think I'm blowing up hot smoke. We'll start with the first hot take here. So this one was supposed to lean Republican, the Indiana race. It was supposed to be a +1 for the Republican in there, and what did it end up being? Indiana. Yep, Joe Donnelly won by 6 points. 6 points. Oh, he's a Democrat. Yeah, but Nate Silver said that it was a +1 for a Republican. So he was 7 points off there. Attaboy. And here in the toss-ups category, we have the Florida race, and a big late-term swing there for the GOP. They were up 10 points, but it was supposed to be a slightly Democratic district. It was supposed to be just a +1, so it could have been a 49-50 scenario. It could have been very, very, very close. It ended up being a fucking massacre. The dude won by 1.1 million votes and ended up winning by 13 fucking points. 13 points. +1. Yeah, +1. And Ted Cruz was up for election in Texas in 2012, and he was supposed to win by 10 points. And let me just show you what ended up happening. Skunked him by 17. 17. So I'm just being fair here and showing you each side has been extremely wrong. There are some closer ones, but it's no fun to go, oh yeah, he was actually within, 2 points here. That was pretty cool. How about another likely a Democrat position? How about the Michigan race? +10? 21 points. Fucking nailed it. Or how about Chief Wampum herself, Pocahontas? She was up for election as well. She was supposed to win her seat, and I think we all know, she ended up winning. +1. 8 points. But here's one where he was absolutely 100% wrong. North Dakota. Okay. GOP changed. The Democratic nominee was a latecomer on, but he was still supposed to lose, or he's still supposed to win by 5 points. Heidi Heitkamp ended up winning by a fucking withered old cunt here. She won by a shade under 3,000 votes. Old Rick Berg, old Dickie Berg, he ended up missing out on that one. But according to Nate Silver, the man who perfectly called the 2012 general election, had him marked down as a likely Republican. Sorry, lean Republican. I don't want to misconstrue what Cue Ball had to say, but one last one that I just have to point out before we wrap this up. Missouri. This is the most disgusting fucking loss of his... if he had credibility before, this should probably clean it right out of your guys' ears and just vote like your fucking life depends on it. Missouri, where we have a 5-point Republican lead. Late coming in for the challenger. Oh, actually, yeah, it was supposed to go from nothing all the way up to 5 points there. So guess what? Fucker got smoked by 16 points. That is a 21-point swing in the wrong direction. Absolutely did not call that at all whatsoever. So no. The polls weren't wrong. Just because Nate Silver was right in 2012 when it came to the presidential election didn't mean that everything else that he touched wasn't laced with bullshit. When it comes to these individual races, you have to be very, very careful who you put your trust in. The only thing that you should put your trust in is metrics like enthusiasm, voter turnout, and honest to God, just drive around and count signs. I think that gives you a great idea of what the fuck you're going to be dealing with. Because if somebody's going to put a sign up in their yard, you bet the fuck they're going to go in and they're going to vote. Regardless of these videos you've seen, I don't know if they're different videos, the ones that I've seen, but oh Jesus, they look like they're miles long early voting lines. And on the 3rd, it's going to be, it will more than likely be longer, but those will be the diehard fans. And just ask yourself, who has the diehard fans? Who has the diehard detractors? Detractors don't go and vote. They just wish for your, in some cases death, but they wish for your downfall. Your hardcore fans will come out and see you regardless of what you do. And Trump has more of that than any other politician I've ever seen, at least in my lifetime. And I wanted to do this because, the 2012 election, because it was the second term, going to be the second term for Barack Obama. One projection was correct. And you know what? That's like pulling a 64 March Madness bracket out of your ass. It doesn't happen very often. He fucking nailed it state for state, number for number. But you take a look into the details and you realize that foundation has a couple of cracks in it. That sandbox that he was building in had quite a few cat turds in it. So hope you all appreciated that compare and contrast. These are a little bit of fun to do. I do appreciate going back and looking at the numbers here and making the media look stupid for having these, big-brained individuals on. Because I'm just a guy talking into a microphone, yelling at a webcam for the entertainment of y'all out there. So, and I appreciate you guys giving me the chance, and I hope you enjoyed this, because we ain't stopping around here. Thank you very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you guys to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.